What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video. Today we have a book review for you guys. The book we read is Drive by Daniel H. Pink. In the intro, the author explains the three drives that we as humans have. The first drive we have is the biological drive, which is not much different from animals. It's just the urge to survive and reproduce. And then the second drive we have is external drive or environmental drive. So an example of this could be like a job. If you do this task for me, then I'll give you this. If then rewards. And then the third one we have, which wasn't discovered until later, is intrinsic drive. So it's performance of a task simply for enjoyment or since you like the mastery of a skill. It was found that external rewards can cause a lot of damage to intrinsic interest. Rewards can deliver a short-term boost but wear off and can lessen one's long-term motivation. Chapter 1 is the rise and fall of Motivation 2.0. What's Motivation 2? You must be thinking. First of all, I have to explain what Motivation 1.0 is. Motivation 1.0 was basically like human survival. But then once humans became the apex predators of the world, survival wasn't really on our minds anymore. We were already at the top, and there was really nothing that could take us off the top. So then, as society progressed, people started having jobs. This is where Motivation 2.0 came in. Motivation 2 is all about seeking reward and avoiding punishment. And it's been essential to economic progression. Simply put, Motivation 2.0 rewards the good and punishes the bad. The author refers to this as carrots and sticks. You get a carrot when you're good, you get hit with a stick when you're bad. When we look at jobs, there's two types of jobs. There's algorithmic. You follow a set of instructions down a single pathway that lead to a solution that has already been figured out for you. So an example of this would be like a grocery store bagger. You get the food, put it in the bag, just don't put the bread on the bottom. That's it. But then the other type of job is heuristic. So you experiment with possibilities and devise a solution. An example of this would be marketing. There's not one set way that's best to advertise for a certain product. It's probably different for every single different product. Motivation 2, as we talked about before, has if-then rewards. If you do this, then I'll give you this. And it causes people to lose some of their autonomy as well as intrinsic motivation. You lose your autonomy because your autonomy is basically, I can make this choice if I want to, but you need money, so then you're kind of forced down the road of doing this. Rewards tend to narrow our focus, which can be helpful when there's a clear path to a solution, but it's not as good for creative projects. Goals for yourself are usually healthy, but goals imposed by others can be dangerous and lead to shortcuts and unethical behaviors. So a good example of this is, let's say the higher-ups want mechanics of a car shop to meet a certain sales goal. If they feel like they need to meet that goal no matter what, no matter how many customers come in, they're going to upcharge the customers, maybe have them do repairs to their car that they don't really need because they're trying to meet that sales goal. So they'll take shortcuts in order to meet the goal that was given to them by someone else. When we compare this to intrinsic motivation takes no shortcuts because the only person you're cheating is yourself. If-then rewards also can kill creativity. There's a really great example the author gave for this. So they took two groups of artists, right? And the first group of artists, they said, just, hey, make this art piece for us. Second group, they said, hey, make this art piece for us. And then they paid them for it. And then after they made these paintings, they had a panel of art judges score them on overall creativity and a bunch of other stuff. So then once they scored these paintings, the people who got paid scored way lower on creativity and overall than the other people did. And it's not like they gave them parameters saying, hey, I need you to paint a nature scene. I need a lot of blue in it. I need it to fit this mood. No, they just got paid. And when they asked the artist about it, the artist said when they get commissioned projects, they feel like they can't make it as personal to them. They can't put their own sauce on it, basically. So that's why they ended up performing poorer. On top of this, if then rewards can be like drugs, providing a quick rush of excitement which quickly dissipates, leading a need for even bigger reward. That's how I feel about my job. I get paid a little bit more than I did when I first started working there, but I'm still like, damn, bro, this check doesn't hit like it used to, you know? It's not like a source of motivation that lasts very long, I feel like. And then the dichotomy of these if then rewards is by offering the reward, the boss shows the worker that the task is undesirable. Load these boxes, you'll get paid. And we're paying you because people don't want to load these boxes, which is fair. But then when you find something you really enjoy doing, let's say painting, and then you find a way to make money off of that somehow, it doesn't even really feel like a job. These carrots and sticks do work sometimes. It's just for like routine work. And the way you can make them work is by giving a rationale for the necessity of a task. Acknowledge that the task is boring, and then allow people to do it in their own way. If a really good example of this is my job, I work at a warehouse. If there was someone there watching me the whole day, loading the boxes, critiquing me on how I'm loading them, it would not be enjoyable. But they do a good job of being like, hey, I know it gets boring. Do what you want to do as long as you're being safe, not throwing stuff. Do. Chapter 3 is Type I and Type X. So the author introduces what he calls SDT, self-determination theory. It argues that we have 3 psychological needs: competence, autonomy, and relatedness. Humans have an inner drive to be autonomous, self-determined, and connected to each other. When drive is liberated, people achieve more and live richer lives. Then he talks about the 2 behaviors. We've got type X behavior, people who are fueled by rewards and extrinsic desires. So someone who is fueled by getting rich or getting famous. And then we have type I people. They're fueled by inherent satisfaction of the activity itself. And then type I is better than type X in the long run. They have greater focus on mastery rather than just the task at hand. Type I behavior is the natural state, while type X usually comes from domestication. A really great comparison the author made for the difference between type I and type X is he has type X as coal. It becomes more expensive to get and leads to pollution. And pollution he related to addiction and immoral behavior. So, as I said before, the first check hits way harder than the 10th check, even though it's the same, because you get used to it. And then he compares type I behavior to solar power. It's safer, comes naturally, and it always has a source. If you enjoy doing something, you're never going to run out of the motivation to do it unless something comes in and soils that for you. Chapter 4 is autonomy. Our default setting is to be active, engaged, self-directed, and curious. The 4 T's of autonomy: task, time, technique, team. An example of task is there's one company who gave employees 1 day per week to do something outside of work. They were still at work, but they would say, hey, we don't want you to do anything related to our company today. And what this allowed for was for people to come up with different ideas that then could get added to the company, and the company became a lot more well rounded. An example of time: Netflix allows employees to go on vacation whenever they want, show up to work whenever they want. The catch is you still have to get your work done. But this helps people to maybe lock in on work for a week, and then bro, go to Punta Cana, go to Mexico, go to Japan, go wherever you want, explore the world. Then once you get back to work, get back to work. This prevents people from stretching their time at work long enough to make it seem like they're busy, while they really could have got that project done in like an hour. An example of technique: there was a call center. They're now one of the highest rated call centers in the world because they allowed their callers to not use a script or take as long as they wanted to on a call. If it took them a minute to help someone figure out their problem, great. If it took them an hour, great. It doesn't matter. We don't want you guys to feel like robots and follow this script like a bunch of other call centers do. An example of team: I don't know if it's Dollar Tree or a different dollar store, but when they have a new employee, they let them work there for 30 days. Then after the 30 days, they have the team members vote on whether they would like to keep them as an employee or not. Motivation 2 can be very damaging for creative work. Think of Picasso, right? One of the greatest artists of all time. Now think if you told Picasso, all right, I need you to show up to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. This is who you're going to work with. I want you to paint in this type of way using these type of brush strokes. You wouldn't do that to the greatest artist of all time. Or one of the, I don't know, art like that. Maybe one of the greatest of artists. Maybe one of the greatest artists, I don't know. But yeah, to do a good job, all people need autonomy. They need to be able to make their own decisions and have a little bit more free will than the work system right now gives us in general. Motivation 2.0 assumed that if people had freedom, they'd neglect their responsibility. And then Motivation 3.0, which is what the world is starting to shift to now, assumes people want to be accountable, and maintaining the 4 T's of autonomy is the key part of doing that. Chapter 5 is mastery. Mastery is the desire to improve at something that matters to you. To explain this a little better, the author gave 2 views on intelligence. There's the entity theory, which is that intelligence is like height. You're born into a certain limit. And then there's the incremental theory, which is with effort or training, intelligence can be increased, just like strength. Mastery is 3 things. It's a mindset. You focus on improvement rather than achievement. You focus on, did I get better than last time, rather than, did I get the first place trophy? Pain. Many failures will be on the path of mastery. You're going to mess up. And then the next day, you're probably going to mess up. And then the day after that, you might mess up again. And then the 4th day after that, you might fail again. But then the 5th day, that's when you start to make progress. And most people, when they start trying to do something, if they're not good, after like the 3rd day of doing it, they say, hey, this might just not be for me. But what they fail to realize is how much they got better within those 3 days of trying, bro. 3rd thing, mastery is an asymptote. So it's like, I should have paid attention in math class better. It's like that graph where here's the x-axis, here's the y-axis. I remember. Here's the x-axis. And then it approaches this part, but it never fully reaches, right? So mastery is kind of like a silly idea because you can never fully be a master of something if you keep working at it. Even if you're on your millionth day, well, I don't know if people live a million days. Let's say your 1,000th day of doing something. You're going to be really cold at it if you've just been grinding on it and trying to improve every single day. But the crazy part is you can still get better the next day. So you'll never fully reach your true potential if you keep that mindset. You can get better every single day, no matter how good you are at something. Michael Jordan in his peak probably was still getting better at basketball. Why? Because he kept working at it. Chapter 6 is purpose. Purpose is a greater objective, often bigger than just helping yourself. Extrinsic aspirations or profit goals are like becoming rich or achieving fame. But intrinsic aspirations or purpose goals are helping others and making change in the world. People with profit goals are often unsatisfied when said goals are met, creating an endless cycle of wanting more. Science has proven the third drive, intrinsic motivation, the desire to direct our own lives, extend and expand our abilities, and contribute to a greater good is more powerful than biological or reward punishment drive. All right, so that's the first half of the book. And what I really like about this book is in the second half, the author gives you a toolkit for how to apply what you just learned into your life. Here's some strategies to awaken your drive. A big question: what is your sentence? So there was an advisor to JFK. I forgot what her name was, but she was talking to him and she said, hey, all the other presidents, they have a sentence. For example, George Washington, he helped our country against the British, and he was the first president of our nation. Abe Lincoln, he helped unite the country, and he ended slavery. Boom, that's their sentences. But she was telling JFK that his sentence was turning into like a large muddled paragraph. He was stretching himself thin and trying to be good in too many different areas. So you want to ask yourself, what's the sentence that people will say about you at the end of your life? For example, he was a great teacher who really cared about his students and wanted to see them do well. She was a great mother who showed limitless love to her children. Figure out what you want to be known for at the end of your life. Because while you're alive, sure, many people may know you, but once you're dead, what will people remember you for? What will your kids remember you for? So that's the big question. And then you also want to ask yourself some small questions. Example: were you better today than yesterday? Did you do more things that were productive? Did you perform better? When do you remember last being in the flow state? Did you eat healthier? Small stuff like this that's a little bit more focused on specific things that you might have done in a day to become better. Although you can't be flawless, striving perfection while tracking day-to-day improvement will almost ensure success. A really good quote that I got from this was, reminding yourself that you don't need to be a master by day 3 is the best way of ensuring you will be one by day 3,000. So the way I think of this, I've been starting to make beats, right? The first day, I wasn't that good at it. And then I've probably only done it like less than 5 days where I really sat there and locked in. But even now, I'm not great. I'm not Pierre Bourne or Metro Boomin, but I'm way better than when I started, and I'm proud of myself for that. The first day you do something, you're not going to be cold probably. First month, you'll be better, but you still won't be cold. The first year, you still might not be good at something. But if you ensure that you're putting in the effort to get better every single day, eventually you will be great at something. And you just have to trust that. Here's 5 steps that will bring you closer to mastery. You got to remember that deliberate practice's objective is to improve performance. 2, repetition matters. 3, seek feedback. If you don't know how you're doing, you won't be able to know how to improve. 4. Focus on improving your weaknesses. This will lead you to being a lot more well-rounded in whatever you're trying to get better at. 5. Accept that the process will be exhausting. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. So, you got to know that it's going to be hard. To close today's video, I have my own little summary that I formulated. These are my own words. Real achievement never occurs overnight. It is an everlasting journey. Since you want to strive for enjoying the run, not just the finish line or trophy, you need to enjoy the grind. 99% of your life is the tiring path, not the praise. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you guys in the next video. To give this one a score, probably I give it like a 9.3. See ya.